Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Julie Lima Boyle. I'm the English Department Curriculum Coordinator here at CHS.
And I'm Beth Giblin. I'm the World Language Curriculum Coordinator.
We wanted to make this screencast to speak with you about the scheduling process because we've been told it's going to be kind of tricky to get down to Feinstein to be able to see everyone at one time. And we wanted you to have a resource that you could refer to help support you in the scheduling process. Just generally, without too much preamble, we wanted to be clear in just why we're being extra clear with you today about our expectations for scheduling. We've been looking at some data and just seeing our students in grade 9 right now and knowing that we're coming off of these COVID years as we've been. We're seeing a lot of decline in reading and writing, unfortunately. And we sort of need your help to make sure that we get these recommendations really, really well done. So we know the recommendations are going to be entered by you in collaboration. ELA and World Language will be collaborating between January 3rd and January 12th to get these entered into Aspen. So we wanted to make sure that you have this now so you can start thinking about all of the issues. But in some, I think we're worried that kids are falling behind in reading, and we want to make sure that if they are, that they're going to be placed in a literacy support. So hopefully we can intervene now and give them the access essentially down the road to enter the world language program. But we certainly want to keep world language going too. So if you look at the chart that's on the screen, I'm sure you might have seen this. Cynthia said she was going to probably be sharing this with you. We wanted to privilege the STAR scores as a way of making your recommendations right now. So not to say we can't revisit some of these recommendations in the spring based on new information, if any comes to light, but we do definitely want to be clear that anyone scoring below 25 percentile should be recommended for both CPS ELA, so the supported ELA section, and a section of literacy. When the scores start to go up and we get into these gray areas, literally gray areas on the screen, you'll see that we're still thinking that kids are probably going to enter the CPS ELA with a score of 25 to 29 percentile. And here's where the gray area is important to speak to. They may enter literacy,
or they could be placed into the intro level of our world language course, either Italian or Spanish. Sometimes the Italian intro course doesn't run because we don't have as many kids that are recommended for that language. So just to keep in mind, but to start, we definitely would prefer to see students placed in the language of their choice, and we'll try to schedule that way if we can.
Yeah, so we just need real careful discretion on these cut point moments where we're not sure. This is where your experience with the children is going to be, most important in helping us parse out what they exactly need. Moving up the STAR scores between 30 and 35, we're recommending that's where you start to think about putting them in college prep ELA and making sure that they're going to be appropriately challenged and a pathway to prepare for college. And so we recommend for 30 to 35 CP as the placement for ELA.
And the intro language of the intro level of the world language course as well.
And then between STAR scores between 35 to 39, knowing that 40th percentile is usually a pretty solid, reliable marker, an indicator that they're on track to score a 3 or better on SATs and other important assessments that will be gateways for them into their next steps. That gray area between 35 and 39, we know that they're going to, in all likelihood, be recommended for CP ELA, the college prep course, but we're still having a concern about language.
So some of these students, maybe dependent upon their interest and their motivation, could be recommended to the intro level of Spanish or Italian, and some could be recommended for level 1 of Spanish or Italian. I would like to see Jamie and Roseanne involved in conversations about any students that they have taught. I know not all kids have taken language, but if they have taught them, then they should have a say in this recommendation.
And then lastly, those kids that are doing well with STAR and scoring 40th percentile or above, here's where you need to help us discriminate between the CP student and the honors ELA student, Traditionally, the honors ELA student are kids who are very independent in terms of their reading ability. They can write well. They are motivated. They're going to be tasked with a great deal of homework. Are they going to be able to handle that? Traditionally, we've seen about 50 of your students come into our honors program, and that seems to be consistent over the past several years. Even with COVID, the kids who are readers are still reading, and it's showing in terms of their prowess with language and writing. So you'll let us know as whether it's a CP placement or an honors placement, but we really want you to think about that and not over prescribe the honors, but also don't be afraid to challenge a student if you think he or she is up to it.
And we would say that you would use the same criteria in determining if a student should take CP or honors level one of the world language. Typically, the honors ELA students are also the honors level one students.
Mhm.
But again, if Jamie and Roseanne have taught these students, I'd like to see them, make that recommendation whether they think the student should go into CP or honors. The students being recommended for level one, most of them have either not taken language yet in the middle school or have only taken an introductory level course. So it may be more appropriate for the ELA teacher to make that recommendation. But the students that will be placed into our level two course, which is fairly new for us because we just started the full year program at the middle school for language, those recommendations, whether they're going into level two CP or level two honors, would be done solely by Jamie or Roseanne because they are the ones that have been teaching those students all year. At the end of the year, they will be given a placement test to really make that final determination whether they should be in CP or honors. But for now, we're just going to go with the world language teacher discretion.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think in closing, we would just want to point out that we're here to consult with. If you want to email us or consult with your Cynthia or your folks in the building, and then speak to us. But we certainly are here to answer any questions if you're unsure or need clarification on anything. And just thinking about that deadline of January 3rd through 12th, it'll be here before you know it. So we really need your careful attention on this, and we appreciate it and thank you in advance for that. And that's our main message. So whatever help you can help to provide and making sure we get these recommendations correct. This round, sort of sounds bad to say, but like a worst case scenario. So Bethany knows what the world language numbers look like. I know what the literacy and reading numbers look like, and we can make those decisions and start to plan. And then if it changes for the better, then so be it. That's wonderful. But right now, we really want you to privilege the STAR scores and think about where students are demonstrating their performance.
Yeah, and I think just as a side note, if you're not familiar with the new regulations coming out by the Department of Education, students that want to apply to a state school, college, or university will need 2 years of a language. So while we definitely want to see kids gain their literacy in ELA as a primary focus, when you're in those gray areas and you're thinking, should we be recommending a student for